Sam Fender is an absolute superstar in the UK. Today we're looking at his third album. It's just been released. It's called People Watching. I think it's his crack at some mainstream success in maybe in the US. Good morning, Al. Hope everything's well. We've heard some songs already. Well, I was quite impressed with what I'd heard, but do you think it's living up to his promise or maybe flying a little bit too close to the sun?
Good morning, mate. Look, it's an interesting album, isn't it? It's pretty radio friendly. There's obviously some singles that have come out. He hasn't really kind of promoted it a huge amount. And I think he's come out to say that he's done this on purpose because he wanted the music to speak rather than him. And for me, I don't know. We'll talk about the rating later, but there's a couple of real standout tracks here for me. The opening song, People Watching, is a real belter. It's obviously the lead single, and I really love the strings and the saxophone towards the end. It's pretty good listen there, but the absolute number one track off this, we don't get to it till number 9, is TV Dinner. I don't know what you thought about this, mate, but I thought the almost Radiohead-esque kind of piano start, and his lyrics are just brilliant on this. I don't think it's going to be a single because he obviously drops the C-bomb during it, but I think it'll be a deep cut in his live shows that people are hanging out for, mate. What are your thoughts on this particular track and the rest of the album?
Yeah, so I thought this was an interesting song. It actually felt like a Jeff Buckley type of impersonation. He was doing the vocal gymnastics on it. He didn't do too badly. You could definitely pull off a Jeff Buckley, could be a Jeff Buckley cover band, but I don't know. Did you see that, or was that just me?
I can see what you're saying in terms of his vocal range and emotive state, but if we're comparing Sam Fender and Jeff Buckley, that's a different video and different conversation. Interested to see what people think in the comments there on the comparisons, mate. What else are you liking off this album?
I think that's a nice way of saying it. I'm full of crap, but anyway, I like the album. It was he comes from a very singer-songwriter type of perspective in the Bruce Springsteen tradition, probably filtered through a little bit more modern influences. So Adam Grandiseel was one of the guys who co-produced the album. From War of Drugs, you could definitely see that he has listened to them over the journey. You can see versions of Brandon Flowers, David Gray.
Definitely.
Even Jeff Buckley, but I definitely see that his modus operandi for this album is to go to the big chorus, and that I think is the attempt to go and get to the big time. Whether that's going to bring more fans in or put off the existing fans, I'm not so sure. But there was a lot of songs there that I really picked up and listened to. The one that I probably like the most is Arm's Length. So it's been out for a little bit of time now, just the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's got a Fleetwood Mac type of a shimmy to it. In some ways, I don't know if people are watching this and know Cindy Lee, were a band that we looked at probably 4 weeks ago, just reviewing. It came in very close to Cindy Lee's song Flesh and Blood, which I thought was interesting. So, but both songs were homages to Fleetwood Mac. Really enjoyed that. Chin Up was another that had a very uplifting anthem-style feel to it. Hasn't been released as a single, but I'd be very interested to see if that ends up happening and seeing how it actually goes. I could see it in a concert setting really going off and the crowd getting into it.
So let's talk about the opportunities that Sam Fender might have in the US with this album and his previous albums. Do you think he's got enough to really crack the market there, or do you think it's predominantly the UK and to a certain extent Australia?
Yeah, I'm scratching my head. I'm not sure. Like, it's if you think about acts that have come in from the UK and recent history, like I'm thinking guys like David Gray. Like, I mean, they're moderately successful in the UK. I think he's always going to find some form of success over there. I'm not sure if he's going to be quite as successful as he is in the UK now. Time will tell, and if we're wrong, good luck to him. But it's probably more one for taste in a lot of ways. And now I know that Bruce Springsteen is obviously from the US, but I don't know if that necessarily equates to people being successful when they carry forward on the genre. I'm just not seeing rock being quite as massive over there for numerous reasons. So that's probably where he might be actually going down of I guess where it could end up being for him, it could continue down this path of being a polished performer. So you're getting closer and closer to even dare I say it, a Taylor Swift, if that makes sense, where it becomes a little bit more poppy. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. To be honest, I just can't see it.
Yeah, look, I would have to agree with that as well. I know that he loves touring, and it's hard work, and that's probably what's going to have to happen. He's going to have to do all the shows and do all the extensive tours as the David Grays of the world have to do it. But I think this is his opportunity to actually do it. I mean, it's a solid album. He's got a fair few songs now in his back catalogue to make a pretty good set list here, but I just don't know whether it's going to be played on the radio in the US compared to other artists such as Lola Young, who's kind of come out with hit singles that have just been picked up and just going gangbusters from the UK. Be interested in the comments once again, mate. If we're going to give it a rating, though, I'm sitting at about 3.5, and the main reason being is there's other artists and bands out there such as Fontaines DC who are producing just mind-blowing stuff, and it's hard to compare apples with oranges, but I toggled around the 4 and I've hit it at 3.5, mate. Where do you sit?
I think it's a solid 4. I really enjoyed the album, but that might not necessarily mean I might go back to it all that often during the year. I think it's probably the record of the year, probably the clubhouse leader. It's probably not a lot of albums to go by really at the moment for that, but
no,
enjoy the album. Yeah, it's February, right? So, but enjoy the album. I think that it will be probably nominated at some point for certain awards. It'd be interesting to see how it goes. So, let us know what you think. Are you thinking that we're being fair or harsh of our assessment of this album? We thought it was all right. We obviously thought it was all right, but yeah, also had some comments. Let us know in the comments. Let us know what you think.